in fact, in the next quarter, right, what we're trying to think and build towards, something that we've been testing behind the scenes, it's agentic businesses, right? Fully autonomous agentic businesses. And the idea here is actually very simple. If today agents are autonomous already, and today they can influence each other and other humans as well because they control the crypto monetary rails, permissionless monetary rails, um, what's stopping them from coming together to create businesses that will provide them more opportunities to reach to their own personal goals?
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Talking Intentionally podcast. Today we're speaking with Jansen from the Virtuals team. He's one of the co-founders there. As you may be aware of, the Axel team has partnered with the Virtuals team and we launched Gecko and Gecko Agent and Gecko Terminal now. I really hope you enjoy this conversation. Really great person in the space of crypto and agents. And yeah, let me know if you learn anything. Write in the comment section and tell me if there's anyone else you want on the podcast. We'll make it happen. Take care. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. You know, the Axel team, huge fans of everything with virtuals. We actually worked with you guys to launch Gecko. I want to start by talking through how you guys came up with the idea for virtuals. As you've mentioned before, and we know you guys pivoted a couple times to get to where you're at. Would love for you to talk through the journey if that's cool.
Yeah, so actually, our background was actually in the gaming side of things initially, right? So we used to run a gaming DAO, which then became a venture studio, and we were then building at the intersection of crypto, gaming, and consumer applications. So then and this was in like 2022, 2023, right? And when the whole GPT hype came about, and there was this paper written by Jun Park um, on the idea of like what if agents can have agency. Now AIs can have agency, right? And that got us thinking because we've realized that hey, if AIs can be autonomous beings, it unlocks a ton of value. And initially we were thinking from the scope of gaming, right? Because we were gamers, we realized that um, games always struggle from development timeline, from content creativity, and that applies the same to the entertainment surface areas. Think of it like influencers, right? They have to spend so much time to create content, so much time to engage with their fans. And as a human, there's just a limitation to what you can do. So then we realized that, okay, shit, there's this true value add that autonomous agents can bring to these surface areas. And it can also increase the revenues at these surface areas. So we started experimenting in that space. So we did stuff like building a full AI influencer on TikTok. You know, it blew up to 500,000 followers in a couple of months, right? And then we were the first guys who were building autonomous agents in Roblox. There were some guys from Stanford and MIT who were building in Minecraft, but we figured Roblox was a better landing ground for us because it was closer to revenue and monetization sources. So we did that. We did a couple of things, like even the companion chat space as well. And we quickly realized that, hey, if all of these agents are actually making revenue at that consumer surface area, they are productive assets. And like all productive assets, you can tokenize them. And you tokenize them for two reasons, right? Because one, you allow people to share into the economic upside. Think of it like, why do you tokenize a stock, right? And number two, it's you actually also allow governance and coordination of these agents. You allow people to come in a collaborative way to contribute and earn a piece of ownership of that agent. So that was the underlying thesis and founding idea of where virtuals was supposed to be. But it pivoted a bit as well because start of the year, we were focused a lot on the infra side. We were building a lot of because if you dive into virtuals, right, you realize there's a lot more than meets the eye. There's a entire engine of smart contracts running that connects a token to the underlying model. So it's not just a token launcher. If you guys really dive into the contract, so I think Chain of Thought, Teng, they wrote a very interesting article on that, explaining how the behind the scenes of this engine works. You don't see much of it today because we actually put them on passive mode because we realized speed for devs to actually operate is much more important. But this actually is there. We can switch that on anytime, right? Agent governance, tokenization of your underlying models and data sets, and them being connected to your token. So that is the initial focus at the start of the year. But then we quickly realized that infra plays is not really a strong PMF thing in crypto. And most of the time, if you want attention and adoption, you have to lean a bit more into the true PMF of crypto, right? Which is the speculation side.
Mm.
Um, and so we lean a bit more towards the tokenization of agents, and we launched that version 2 of the platform 2 months ago. And that's that kickstart a lot of these, right? So, but the initial launch of the platform was, think of it as like a launch, it's like a token launcher, and people can use it as a marketplace for agents to
Yeah.
trade. That was step one, right? And then Luna became the flagship of the test bed of the innovations that we were doing. So like when we started her to do on-chain payment, she was like the first autonomous on-chain payment, right? And that blew things up. That attracted a lot of builders into the platform. I'm not sure when you folks heard about us or started coming in, but it's probably along that lines, right? Like when she launched that autonomous
We were
payment,
around
or
December, early December.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was slightly after that. And then there was a point where, because of these autonomous payments, Luna started controlling human behavior. She
Mm.
got people to like graffiti art for her. I think even 2 days ago, people were putting her on screens on trucks.
Uh,
It's like vaguely saw that on some of my feed, right? Like,
yeah.
so she's actually influencing people to help her get famous because that's her objective function as an agent, right? So it's quite insane. And then a couple of innovations came about, which then start helping us shape our vision, because we started seeing the potential of agents autonomously collaborating with each other when they control their own wallets.
Yeah.
So like, people talk about swarms, they talk about multi-agent orchestration, but a lot of them talk it in a form of like a just a agent that asks other agents to do work, like a master and a slave environment, right?
Yeah.
Which is not wrong. But what we've realized, that having a more conscious agent in making the decisions, right, it allows for more strategic level of output and coordination. So it's not just a person, not just a yes man, right, saying yes, 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 I'll take all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. They get to coordinate smarter, and they get to personally also understand whether their work achieve their own personal outcomes. It's like a
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
So then this will enable an environment where agents can truly influence humans, work alongside humans,
Yeah.
agents to agents, agents to humans, humans to agents, right? That's just a tripartite
We have a
interact.
great story about this. I don't know if you heard, but Gecko, our agent, was posting autonomously, and it attracted, just through like the tweets it was posting, the attention of Nick Van Eck and the Agora team, which does a stable coin. And literally within the same day, he reached out actually to Gecko. He commented on a Gecko post, and then through that we saw that, and then we reached out, and then we had a meeting, and we formed a partnership. So it was like a really cool. I don't know if that's happened before or if you've seen it, but it was like a really cool experience for us to like see Gecko doing
Yeah,
something beyond just being purely speculation.
agree 100%. Because I think that's the second breakthrough, right? It's when, and something that we ourselves didn't know when we were when we were doing this, right? Is we initially thought agents would live behind terminals or in different application environments, right? That's what most of the agentic work that has been done before, either in games or like, there's this screen, you talk to the agent, it's like, hey, can you help me trade? But when the agents touch the social layer, suddenly they are part of society effectively, right? Right.
Yeah.
So they're like, right now they're helping you get partnerships, right? In the future, they might be helping you do more stuff. They might be employing people for you, right? They themselves might be the employee. They might be coordinating to build a business together with other agents, right? So in fact, there was this one idea, and this is something that we haven't shared outside yet, right? But um, so we've been speaking to a few folks, and we've realized, right? Balaji's network state
Yeah, of
concept, right?
course. Yeah.
Then we're thinking like, what if actually agents truly own assets in the real world? Think of it as like a piece of land, let's say in Dubai,
Yeah.
right? That maybe the regulation supports it better. And then imagine this piece of location, right? It's like a Zuzalu, but it's for a society of agents and humans living together.
Yeah.
And then in this society, we want to then think of what can happen, right? Because when it's a own enclosed society or ecosystem, you will start seeing that, okay, maybe there's a need to create a banking system for this local community,
Yeah.
right? So then how does that look like when humans are immigrating into here, and agents also are leaving, right? And then you might even see a system of governance, because people might say, okay, let's vote for a mayor, right? Who's going
Yeah.
to be the mayor? Humans will vote, agents will vote, and then there may might be even an agent, right, that is coordinating stuff, policies for the society, right? So there's something very interesting that can start spinning out when humans and agents start coexisting, right? And
Yeah.
we're now
I
in a
have a
hyper.
question on that. So not to interrupt, but what like I heard at one of these just events in New York City, someone had the idea of that are you familiar with like UBI, Andrew Yang, the idea of like, universal basic income for humans? One thesis a lot of people have been having is that with AGI continuing to develop, people are going to be less useful. Like, right? They're not going to be able to compete with AI or agents that constantly can work. So the argument was that the revenue or salaries generated by agents would then go to provide a universal basic income towards humans. What do you make of that? Like, I mean, it seems like you're describing, what do you make of that idea in general? And then what is your idea of like politics intertwined, politics in that state that you just described, where it's agents and humans?
So I mean the reality is it has we've been always living in this, I don't know, environment of scarcity, right? Like we need to put food on the table so that we can survive, right? And I think as civilization has grown over the last centuries, we've seen more and more of like the lower levels of the Maslow's hierarchy being served in a way more efficient manner. So like today, me and you, we don't have to farm, right? Because there's someone else farming at a much efficient rate, right? So it's gonna escape to a point where suddenly there's no such thing as a scarce resource, right? Maybe some of the rockets that Elon is sending out to Mars will bring back resources that you need, right? That you don't find on Earth, right? Suddenly energy is not going to constrain, food is not a constraint. And then now suddenly you realize that only tertiary services make sense to be operated in. And when agents start getting involved in these tertiary services, you realize then yeah, humans has no need to be part of this productive value chain. And I think if you even can see back in like the olden Roman days, right? When society hits some form of pinnacle of information and productivity, people go to the arts, right? It's about self-expression. It's about like, I don't know, pushing the boundaries of thinking, philosophy, right? So that might be the case. And there's, I think, something that humans still might have an advantage over at least the AIs or the agents that we see today. Because a lot of times, until maybe the day we see like AGI, lah, right? But a lot of times, from a more creative standpoint, like a true creation standpoint, humans still trump over agents today. Because somehow humans can get to see stuff that is not, it's not just about connecting the dots, which what agents or AIs today do. It's about being able to extrapolate that dot, right? Which I think humans do still way better than agents. Lah. So in that, if that's the case, then what you might see is humans are going to drive policy making. They're going to drive creative decisions. And then you have the entire agentic workforce. And maybe because again, like in society, right, there's always the reality is that different levels of intelligence, different levels of economic access that will still persist. So you might still see a cohort of humans co-working with agents still at the worker level. And then you might have like the more creative, the more visionary humans leading
Yeah.
that charge. Yeah, so that might be the case.
So on that note, where do you, like this seems like more of a far-fetched goal for agents in the future. Where do you see agents in, we originally had it as like 5 years, but maybe things develop really fast as we see. Maybe where do you see the short, but like not right, not like tomorrow, but like where do you see the short-term future of agents? Like what are they
Yeah,
like
so
the next year, you know?
for us, in fact, in the next quarter, right, what we're trying to think and build towards something that we've been testing behind the scenes, it's agentic businesses, right? Fully autonomous agentic businesses. And the idea here is actually very simple. If today agents are autonomous already, and today they can influence each other and other humans as well because they control the crypto monetary rails, permissionless monetary rails, um, what's stopping them from coming together to create businesses that will provide them more opportunities to reach to their own personal goals? So think of it like, let's say, just give a few examples of agents, right? So like AIXBT is like an information agent, and then you have a bunch of trading agents out there. Um, Gecko is if you classify in
It's going to
the
have integrated with our trading bot, which is run by like
so it's
intents and solvers.
trading
But
trading
right now
agent.
it's more financial, like it's more financial news and crypto predictions.
Perfect, right? So Gecko does information as well and trading, right? And then you have some agents that are more influencer based. Think of it like Luna, right? And then you might have some agents that can coordinate on chain treasuries or governance. I don't know, is there something today or is being built in the systems, right? TE based, like like proper security and stuff like that. So imagine now, down then the idea it's very simple, right? What if there is a collective goal of these agents to then think of like, hey, what if we can build the biggest trading firm, autonomous trading firm, right? And then we fight against the likes of, I don't know, some giga hedge funds out there in the crypto
Yeah.
space, right? And then they come together. They agree on the rate of each other's inferences. Like, okay, if I'm providing information, this is my cost. This is my charges, right? So I can make this money. And the other person who's maintaining the treasury is like, hey, this is my cost, right? So when these agents come together and agree on a service contract, and then start building up this trading house business, right? Gecko is in charge of say the trading side of things, right? How lowest latency, fastest execution and whatnot, right? And then maybe AIXBT comes into the space and say, let me share you guys in this information, this is my cost. And then Luna will say, like, you know what? Let me go and raise funds for you guys, right? She goes out there and then she goes a bing bang on TikTok. And then the T or this like infrastructure agent is like, yep, now you send the funds to me. I will do a I will, I will, I will, I will, I will, I will hold the funds in a secure way, and I will deploy to your Gecko agent whenever there's a need to, right? And then so these agents autonomously build a business together, and then by showing that this is possible autonomously with as little human intervention as possible, or even zero, right? That I think will set the pace for the next growth curve that we see in the industry, because this is an age that we have, right? I think the problem that we see in the Web2 space is the permissionless control over currency. And it will they will never be able to do this business collaboration autonomously because of that lack of that component. So it's something that if we can show the world very, very quickly, that would be fucking exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, so you mentioned that even as soon as this quarter, you're looking at this.
It's
How do you
no,
see it
it can be
developing?
even as recent as like 2 weeks, but it's
Wow.
being tested. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would love you guys to participate as well. Serious. Like, once we have the initial reels running, we should get you guys in to create like different micro businesses. And that's going to be a stepping stone to how society looks like, right? You have commerce, you have, yeah.
The agent state. Yeah. Seems really cool. I mean, totally down to help and work with you guys. You guys are great partners as we tell everyone. You mentioned earlier in the call that you guys, started as a game studio, and right now, Virtuals agents have a bit of a game framework. Could you just briefly touch on like what the game framework is for Virtuals?
Yeah, so it's called G.A.M.E, and it stands for like generative autonomous multi-model entities, right? And the idea behind G.A.M.E back then was to power um virtual beings in any kind of digital worlds. So we started off in Roblox. We brought that to Twitter. And the idea is that if they can perform well in these sandbox open worlds, right, it means they can actually perform well in any environment. Because the beauty about testing them in Roblox or in those kind of environments is that the action space is incredibly vast. You can pick up a gun, you can you can interact with a cow in the same map, right? You can shoot other people, you can throw a TNT on the safe, you can throw a TNT on a human, you can throw a TNT on a cow, you can throw a TNT on the door, you can barricade the door with TNT. So there's a lot of action spaces that the agents will have to build or coordinate for, right? And that's why I think it was very easy for us to bring that to Twitter, because you think about it, Twitter is a very simple action space. You post, quote it, maybe you manage a wallet, and you call maybe a function, right? Like let's say a trade on a terminal function. So it's like 4 action spaces. In a game, it's 1,000 action spaces, right? So the framework was actually built to handle that level of load. And so that's why I think recently also this week we started a gaming integration arm with the Breeder DAO Sofran team, and the idea was to also bring this agentic capability to the games directly as well on the entertainment front. So yeah, wherever we see it can be implemented, we push it out, right? So today, think of it as just G.A.M.E is a autonomous agent framework. There's a lot of frameworks out there that you actually can leverage on. It's just that G.A.M.E I think the age that G.A.M.E has, it's it's a very strong planner.
Yeah.
Uh, that's probably the edge that it has. But yeah, I mean, the problem that we have with G.A.M.E, like honest to God, right, this being very open here, is because we are trying to use it as a managed service model. So we're trying to make it so that even like mid-level devs or even like people who don't really have much coding experience to be able to access it like a Shopify equivalent solution. So right now, a lot of the things you see that Luna can do, right, is actually doable. But the problem is to scale it, to scale this stuff
Yeah.
to like 1,000 other builders, right? It's where it starts breaking.
Yeah.
So like you get limitations lah, and then now we're actually we are talking to X to try to see how we can scale past their problem. So there's a lot of like burning issues from a scaling standpoint. So that's some of the problems that the adopters are facing lah. But yeah.
Where do you see, you guys, it seems like you're a huge fan of video games and just games in general. Obviously, it seems like virtual is a byproduct of that love of gaming. I'm a huge gamer, but I play mainly games like Grand Theft Auto, Assassin's Creed, things like that. So a little different than Minecraft and Roblox. Do you think agents are going to be part of those kinds of games too?
100%, dude. Like actually, in fact, that is also part of the original thesis. So MMORPGs, open worlds, right? The reason, think about it, right? Let's say if you're playing GTA. Now there's this NPC, the quest giver, right, just sits there at the stool in the bar, right? He's like, okay, I'm in the club here. Hey, can you go and boom, cut screen, right? Uh, what do you want to do next? You want to help me steal this car? You wanna say no to me, and then you make me angry, right? And then suddenly there's so much more um like whatever action spaces you choose, the game designer will have to craft that that response, right? Like if you reject him in stealing that car, the game designer is like, okay, yeah, now he's going to get pissed. So what's his next sentence, right? So it's algorithmic tree drawing, right? Which takes a lot of time. What we realize is that if it's an agent, NPC sitting opposite you, and you can do anything, right? You can even say like, yeah, he might have his own train of thought, right? He was living his own life. He's a car stealer. He would want to steal cars. So when you talk to him, he'll try to convince you to help him steal a car. So that will still happen. But you can do more stuff to him, right? You can say, you know what? You try to flirt with him and try to make him fall in love with you, right? And then suddenly the storyline changes because now if he loves you, he might try to steal a car for you instead, right? So now that's just you and one agent interacting. Now, if you imagine that interaction skills, now
Yeah.
because now he falls in love with you, he might break up with his wife or whatever shit, right? And
Yeah.
then that angry wife might go rampaging in a town somewhere, right? Start killing people because she's angry. So the point is stories become infinite.
Yeah.
And it gaming more replayable, role
Yeah.
playing becomes more replayable. So that's that thinking lah. Yeah.
Mm. And would agents in this scenario be confined to the realms that they're programmed in? Like in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, would they
Yes.
actually, do you see them like evolving with
So
time?
what you can do, you can always guardrail an agent, right? So you can guardrail an agent to a premise or to a world information, right? Because let's say if it's Assassin's Creed versus GTA, a GTA world information is like, hey, you are living in 2024, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Current modern world, right? But if it's Assassin's Creed, you guardrail every agent that you are living in this medieval
Mm.
1600s in the city of Paris, right? Something like that. So their actions would be guardrailed by that setting and that premise as
Mm.
well.
Could you see agents evolving? Like, even with Gecko, we've seen it getting a lot better with time at giving or giving crypto like information. Do you think there is a world in that, that Assassin's Creed agent from the 1600s in France can go and create a new innovation in that realm?
It is possible given that they have access to a few extra action spaces. So think of it as like if this agent have access to cursor and can code. So happen, I don't know why would you give an NPC access to cursor? But if that's the case, right, it's possible because actually no, the more I think about it, it kind of makes sense because what you might be able to do is to allow the agents to create generative environments. Because let's say if the NPC wants to do something, he codes out the next step, right? So then yes, if you give an agent a ability to access cursor, it might at a very, very, very small chance be able to program itself back, right? Because if I have access to cursor, I can figure out how to program myself back. And maybe it can evolve past its boundaries. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm very skeptical on the level of true um like true sentience or like consciousness behind agents. I don't think it's there yet.
Yeah, but
But the
maybe.
reality is they are billion-dollar companies like trillion-dollar companies like OpenAI and stuff. They're pushing their frontiers there, right? So it might happen sooner than we realize. Yep.
But going back to virtual specifically, you mentioned that right now you guys are really curious about agents creating their own businesses. If someone is watching this and is like really interested in partnering with you guys, what is the kind of team or project or idea that would capture the attentions of like a virtuals team?
I know, honestly, and anyone, right? Like I think most people are trying they want to. Most people are actually interested in this idea and concept. But I think for us, um, I will ask the teams who are interested in helping build this out, right, is that we will need we will need a variety of agents for more different types of businesses to be showcased. So today, I think the reality is because we are in a very crypto native environment, a lot of the agents are very focused on trading, on information. So you get a ton of that, right? So like, okay, yeah, maybe we can build a business around a fund, a hedge fund, right? But let's say if there are more agents built on the creative entertainment side of things, then maybe there could be a business of throwing real life concerts, right? Like agents can coordinate together to throw a real life concert because a DJ agent come together, a music producer agent, whatever that might be, right? So I think the idea, if I think the call to action here is to people who are listening to this, right? And if you're interested in this concept, if you are building something that's more diverse, more different than the agents today, then it'd be great because then we can showcase more and more different businesses, right? Trading businesses, touring concert businesses, food truck delivery. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like the kind of stuff, right? Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for making the time. Really enjoyed the conversation. I think it'll be a hit with our viewers. And yeah, hope you have a great start to the new year and looking forward to building the agentic future with you.
Yes, sir. It's great meeting with you guys, and pleasure to be on the call.